Have you wondered how developers run application the exact same way on every machine without worrying about it? That's where Docker comes in. In this section, we are going to install Docker on Windows step by step. And I'll make sure that you understand not just how to install it, but also every step that why we are doing it. Now, before we begin our installation, let's quickly understand what exactly Docker is. So guys, Docker is a containerization platform. In simple words, it allows you to package your application along with all its dependencies like libraries, runtime configurations into something called as container. Now, here's the agenda of our today's session. First, we are going to understand what exactly Docker is and why do we need it. Then we are going to understand about system requirements for installing Docker on Windows. Then we are going to enable WSL2 on Windows. And then we are going to install Docker Desktop. After that, we are going to verify Docker installation using command line. And then we are going to run our first Docker container. And finally, we are going to explore some of the basic Docker commands. Now, before we move on, just a quick info, guys. Simplilearn has got AI-enabled DevOps Engineers Master Program. You can become job ready with AI-enabled DevOps and DevSecOps skills. You can master DevOps stages plus AI-driven automation, DevSecOps practices. You can also access blended learning via online classes and with free interactive labs. You will also access official learning content by Simplilearn and respective partners. So guys, hurry up now and join the course. The course link is mentioned in the description box. Now here's a short quiz to test your knowledge. Which component is required to run Docker Desktop properly on Windows? And your options are Apache Server, WSL, which stands for Windows Subsystem for Linux, or MySQL database, or Python virtual environment. Please mention your answers in the comment section below. So let's get started. So guys, let's start with installing Docker on Windows 11. So you'll be wondering what exactly is a Docker. So let me give you a very basic example of it. Let's say if I'm creating any full stack application, let's say with Node.js, and I don't want to use my own local system, then what I will do is I will go to Docker Desktop, which is another app, and there I can download the image of Node.js, any version you want. For example, you can take Node 18, Node 17, or Node 19. So based on that, you can have images of the various technology or frameworks all over here in Docker. It's a very robust platform, guys, and in today's scenario, every developer uses it to build softwares. Now, let us understand what are the prerequisites when you are installing Docker on Windows. First of all, I would suggest you that your operating system is on Windows. It's also fine, that would be workable. Then you need 4 GB RAM and you need to have virtualization enabled in the BIOS format. And the most important thing is that you need to have WSL enabled all over here in your system. So by default, it is present in Windows 11. In Windows 10, then you need to install WSL. Now, before installing Docker, you can also go for Hyper-V, but I will say WSL is pretty much enough for the installation. Now, the second most important thing that comes up all over here is enabling WSL. So what you need to do is open your control panel, go to Program and Features, turn the features of Windows off, and click on the checkboxes for WSL. Very basic thing. These steps you generally won't be requiring because it's by default feature available on Windows 11. But let's say if you're using any older version, then you need to follow these respective steps. Go to control panel, then program and the respective features and follow these respective steps. Now, the very important thing that comes up all over here, how you are going to install WSL. So let me show you guys. So let's say, guys, I am on my PowerShell. Now, when you open PowerShell, you need to run it in the administrator mode. So after this, all you need to type here is WSL install if you are using Windows 10. This is a very basic command which is going to install WSL on your system. And WSL stands for basically Windows Subsystem for Linux. So let's say if you are trying to run a Linux command on your Windows operating system, you will be requiring WSL. Now let's proceed for the installation. This is the official website for installing Docker. Just click all over here. And you can find that we have different versions of Docker available. So you can see Docker Desktop for Windows, and the system architecture is x86-64. Then you will have Docker Desktop for Windows x86-64 over Microsoft Store. You can easily access from the Microsoft Store also. Let's say if I just click on this, So, and you can see my installation will proceed, and it's very much easier when you are actually proceeding with that. I have already installed this, guys, so I won't be doing it. Now, let's say if you talk about installation, this is official documentation, guys. I would suggest you to follow this. Now, let's say these are some of the very important prerequisites. Just look into these things. Very much important for you to actually run the Docker. Now, this is a default folder for your Docker where it's going to get installed, which is C, programs, files, then Docker. Now, you have to ensure that you have to use WSL2 instead of Hyper-V option in the configuration. Just remember this, and then you can easily start the Docker desktop. Now, let me show you guys my Docker desktop. So installation is very much easier, guys. You can just open all over here. So let's wait for a couple of minutes. Now, guys, you are going to see a UI something like this, and my Docker engine is just getting started. So this is a very easy process of installation. Now, there is another way also to install Docker, that's through the command line. So all you need to type Docker desktop installer C and type the install command, and you have to use basically PowerShell. But this process should be happening after you have installed the Docker desktop. And then you type start process Docker desktop installer install. All commands will go in your PowerShell. And let's say if you are using CMD, then you can just type this. I would suggest you using PowerShell all over here. And this process is very much easier. Now let us go to the very basic commands that we can see all over here. Let us verify the installation. So just type all over here, Docker -- version. And this is going to give you your respective version of your Docker, and you can see I have 28.3.2 version. Maybe if you download it, your version will be updated one. So guys, let us look at some of the basic Docker commands. So first one, we have Docker PS. Let's say you want to know your respective container. Okay, how many containers are there? Okay, but it is only going to show you the running containers on your given Docker. So you can use Docker PS for the same. Now, let's say if you are using Docker PS-A, it is going to show you all the containers, including the stopped ones. So for that command, you can use this. Now you can also start a Docker. So with the start command, so start Docker start and ID. And now guys, for running the Docker, you can use the Docker run command. It is going to run your respective container. And if you want to stop the Docker, so you can use Docker stop and give the respective ID also. Now, there is another command. Let's say if you are trying to pull any image, let's say if I'm creating a Node.js project, so I can pull the respective image. So Docker pull is the respective command. If you want to remove any container, you can use Docker rm and give the respective container ID. If you want to inspect what is happening in the Docker, you can use Docker inspect, and you can also check for logs using Docker logs. So these are some of the basic commands, but before trying to do these commands, guys, I would suggest you that on Windows, always start your Docker desktop, then you try to actually follow these commands. And I hope so, guys, you would have got a brief idea how to install Docker on Windows 11. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like these kind of videos, I would request you that do not forget to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell icon so that you don't miss out any update from our end.